welcome to the Hanuman Healing Hour Podcast. This is our special, our book corner. Today we are starting with the Dharmmapada. This is a historic Buddhist text. It's believed that it is the recordings of what the Buddha said, Siddhartha Gautama. His actual words. The word Dharma means the teachings or teachings of the Buddha, and the title Dharmmapada is often translated to words of doctrine. It is compiled of 423 apostles. They are short, like little stanzas or verses. They're supposed to convey truths with principle and the sentiment of what the Buddha was going through, how he was learning his Dharma. And a lot of it is there's extra stuff because it was translated, and there's an introduction that we're going to get to eventually. The version that we are reading from today, it was translated, and the introduction was written by Ingath. It might be messing us up. Eresword. He also wrote the introduction, like I said. It was originally published in 1986, but it's really generally accepted that the original texts were from the mid first century area. So a couple of little announcements before we get into the book study. We have a Patreon that we are now getting on and up and going. If you like this podcast, if you like the book corner and other interesting things we might be doing here soon, such as meditations, we are going to build a community here on Patreon. So if you are interested in supporting the podcast for as low as $1.11, you can become a Patreon member. So go check that out. So the first chapters, we're reading 1 and 2 tonight. Twin verses and vigilance. The sutras or discourse of the Buddha preserved in the Buddhist Pali canon were largely aimed at the monks and nuns of the Buddhist order, but the Dharmmapada was meant for everyone. Its 423 verses are much more than wise aphorisms to be read and reflected over. They contain the part of the Buddha's teachings which can be grasped and put into practice by the greatest number of people. By following these disciplines of the Eightfold Path, every reader knows that one book becomes part of one's life. The Dharmmapada was meant as such a book, and its method of transmission and transforming our lives is given right in the first chapter. The title, Twin Verses, gives it the clue. Chapter 1 persists pairs of possibilities for human conduct, each leading to a different kind of destiny. There are 10 verse pairs, and usually it is the negative possibility of any kind of conduct catering to conditional human wants. What is presented first. Then comes the positive one, which runs congruent to the human nature. The alternative usually is easily accomplished and temporary satisfying. The second, however, goes against the coherent effort on the Eightfold Path, but in the long run, The sweet and easy way leads to suffering, the hard way to nirvana. The Buddha can only point the way. The hard choice we must make ourselves again and again until it becomes part of the personality. The Buddha says later in verse 290, if one who enjoys a lesser happiness beholds me greater one, let him have aside the lesser to gain the greater. This is the greater happiness. The second one, more difficult the path, which we come to any human being who recognizes the choice there is in every action, even in every thought, and has the will and determination to choose wisely. Robert Frost's famous lines from The Road Not Taken provide a model of the crossroads at which every human being stands. There's a section here, it's the actual, so in the book, the verbatim words of the Buddha are italicized. Two roads divulge, and this is the Robert Frost quote. Two roads divulge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled. And that has made all the difference. Why can't a person, and that was the quote, so why can't a person just pass by easily on the easy road, take the one less traveled by, if it leads to permanent happiness? The obstacle is the mind. It is one's mental state that determines which of these possibilities a person will act on. The mind can be said to be a product of a human being's evolutionary drive to look for oneself first. Its natural response to any situation is to take the easiest, least pleasant course of personal fulfillment. So that's the first couple of paragraphs of the Dharmmapada. So that kind of leads me into the discussion point for this bonus episode. A lot of times we try to find an easy way, we try to find an easy fix, and really one thing that I maybe wasn't grasping when I was such a younger person was that a little bit of determination and a little bit of just pushing through, it really goes a very long way. I joke with my partner a lot. My son, even though he doesn't know a whole bunch about this, he has a saying that we literally now refer to as Jacob's, guru, Jacob. His saying is that you're doing something and you maybe don't want to do it, but he says you do it anyway. And that really struck a chord in me when he said that, because we were talking about some things that didn't really have to do with this. And the next thing I know, he's, talking about you got to do it anyway. And it became this kind of long-term, not only saying, but it really got in me and made me start to do it anyway. If I have to get up and go to work and I don't want to go to work, you do it anyway. And a lot of that is considered being an adult and whatnot, but a lot of times, even as adults, we still don't want to do it anyway. And I really think that if we start to apply some of these concepts, whether you're of a certain religious faith or not. There are general concepts, not only from Buddhism, Taoism, um, Hinduism, Sikh, Muslim, Judaism, the Kabbalah, that if we apply them to our life without the whole baggage, a lot of good things can happen. A lot of things that I've seen in my life have improved, especially over the last couple of years, even with the whole pandemic and everything. Um, they're starting to talk about things in America, the numbers spiking and this and that. And one of the groups we're part of kind of all took a poll, and it was not really. We don't want to go back to that. Let's keep it that. And a lot of it has to do with where is your mindset. Are you in the easy road? Are you trying to find the easy way out? Or are you, like the Buddha says, okay with taking the road less traveled? And a lot of times that's the road you really want to be on, you know? Um, so with that said, that was the first half of chapter 1. The next episode that we're going to be doing, we will continue chapter 1, possibly get into chapter 2. There's a good deal of stuff in this book, especially. So if you're interested, again, please become a member of Hanuman Healing Hour family. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram. We're also on TikTok. If you are interested, again, into the Patreon, please consider becoming a supporter. Also, I forgot to mention that we are going to be doing a giveaway. So I actually have some things from the Baba's Feed project that we're going to end up giving away for promotion, kind of. But I would also really like if you guys, as the audience, were able to get more involved into the show. So I'm going to create a way on the Facebook group, the Hanuman Healing Hour Facebook group, to where we can get a chat going and start to actually have the audience participate. I want to hear what you guys have to say, how I can improve, how the show can improve, what you would like to see from the show, what you would like to hear. If you like guests, if you like the book study, if anything like that, we can really start to build this as a community. So with that said, thank you again for joining the Book Corner on the Hanuman Healing Hour podcast. Namaste.